Hey guys, so Argentina against Australia. Sorry, this video is a little bit late. Once again, I've had issues with my microphone. I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and get a proper one going forward because, yeah, this is the second time. And yeah, it's getting annoying to have to deal with that stuff. So I'm using a rather short, yeah, earphones with a microphone here. Hopefully I'll get a proper one to sort that out. But yes, following up to that massive result with the All Blacks coming back in the last minute against the Springboks, the Wallabies and Argentinians weren't going to be undone. They certainly put us on a show with a fair few points. The Wallabies getting it done 45 points to 34. Hooper, Rodder, Folau, Halep Petty going in twice, and Pocock for the Wallabies. For the Pumas, it was Matera, Boffelli, Orlando, and Gonzalez Iglesias. This match, if you looked up game of two halves in a dictionary, should probably be featured because most of the points were down one end of the field. And I've been in that position as a fan when you're sitting down this end of the field and all the action is down the other end. And then the second half, the teams kind of turn it around. And then the team which was doing well is now on the back foot. So all the action is down the other end. That would have been the experience for some of the fans who went to this game because the way I make it out, it was 69 points to 10. So 69 points down one end, 10 down the other. Yeah, so long distance viewing for some fans and excellent all action for the guys who picked the right end of the field to sit at. Anyway, how did the game go? Out of the blocks for the Pumas, it was Matera within a minute or 2 minutes. It was... Who was the second try? Boffelli within like 4 or 5 minutes. So it was 14-0 in no time. Hooper got a try to bring it back to 14-7 in that first half. But then it was Orlando and it was Gonzalez Iglesias plus a penalty. So just Argentina absolutely piling on the points. At halftime, it was 31 points to 7. Everything was just going Argentina's way. And I had the Aussie feed here in New Zealand. So the pundits were just flabbergasted, lost for words, didn't know what to say because it was just absolutely, yeah, it was just a shellacking. Run meters 346 to 170, according to ESPN. Possession 70-30. Tackling percentage for the Wallabies was down to 76 in that first half. They fell off quite a few tackles. Guinea guilty of that, Hodge guilty of that, but multiple players really. Penalty count was 3 to the Argentinians, 7 to the Wallabies. It looks like the ultimate position that the Pumas are going to go on, but the second half also didn't take long to get going. Rodder got a try from a ball he charged down, which ended up with Hooper and then back at him. Then Folau went in, Dana Halep went in. The Argentinians did kick a penalty, but then that was their contribution for the rest of the game. The Wallabies ran in a few more tries. Latu did get yellow carded towards the end of the game for kind of a striking action, but it was all pretty much done and dusted by that point. Checker at halftime, because like I said, they were down 31 points to 7. He was livid, and you could see him just kicking and screaming in that Aussie changing room. But whatever he said must have worked, because I was going to compare his team based on that first half to the Pumas before Mario Ledesma took over. They just looked lost and disinterested. But in that second half, like, we've been waiting for the Wallabies to finally show up in this Rugby Championship, and they've done it kind of in the final 40 of the whole comp. They finally showed us what they can do. It wasn't this... It started off wide, and it was predictable, and the Argentinians were kind of eating it up. The crowd was amazing. It looked to be a really good crowd there, and they were boisterous. And, you know, obviously scoring that many points that soon doesn't hurt things. But, yeah, second half, Wallabies finally brought some game. The full-time stats ended up being run meters were pretty much within a meter of each other, both 460-odd. Position and territory both ended up pretty much 50-50. The Aussies had a slightly higher tackling rate by the end. The Pumas dropped down to about 75. The Aussies up to 82. So both teams kicked 100% of their goals. The Aussies were penalised 12 to the Argentinians 5. But in terms of all those key stats for players, it was a really, really even game. just the Wallabies in that, I mean, it was like the pitch was tilted is what I put on a tweet, because one team was just always seemed to be fighting an uphill battle. Yeah, they just really struggled in that first half, but the Wallabies managed to capitalise more when they did have the momentum, more than the Pumas, if you can believe it, seeing as the Pumas still managed to rack up 31 points in the first 40. Sanchez did go off early. He went off, I think, before half an hour, although they still kept scoring points, so it looked like it wasn't going to make much of a difference. We kind of hard to know how things might have panned out if he had stayed on. Things weren't going right for the Wallabies in the first half. A few silly errors, like Hooper got a turnover at one point, and then Guinea just went and immediately kicked it dead. Hodge was often loitering out on the left wing, and Korobedi, the left winger, was out on the right wing. The positional play was funny at times. Yeah, one of the last actions of the first half was Beale on attack, just dropping the ball cold. So yeah, like I said, it couldn't have gone a whole lot worse for the Wallabies in that first half. The Pumas were just on fire, really showing us what they've been about for this Rugby Championship. But second half, totally different story. Cheika made some subs. It seemed to kind of pay off for him. He subbed some of his Tupou pretty early. Latu came on pretty early, so I guess he made changes when they were needed. Definitely going to take the pressure off him. I still don't think this takes away from what has been a pretty good Rugby Championship for the Pumas. They've definitely come a huge way since June, so I won't take away from them for that. But obviously they would have liked to get a win for their fans at home. Not to be this week, still entertainment was definitely on show. And yeah, they end up finishing the Aussies in third in the Rugby Championship. The Pumas dropped down to fourth. It kind of was the battle of that wooden spoon. The Pumas end up with it. The Wallabies have more points on the table, but the Pumas ended up with a better points differential. So yeah, not much between them. Pumas were very good at the breakdown, I should say. They were putting a lot of pressure on a team which has got Michael Hooper and David Pocock in it, so you wouldn't have expected that to necessarily be one area of strength for the Pumas, but they were really good there. The Wallabies under the pump a little bit towards the end at scrum time. Like the Argentinian scrum has been one issue for them this season, but they seem to definitely pick it up a bit in this game, which was encouraging for what Ledesma must have been doing with them throughout the week. Apparently it's the biggest comeback in Tri-Nations history. I mean, the All Blacks came back from, I think, was it 16 or 17 in this game this morning. So the Wallabies have done it one better. They've gone back from 24 to win this one. You guys let me know your thoughts on the game. Like I said, it was pretty entertaining. It's a pretty nice way to bring a close to the Rugby Championship. The Wallabies finally showing us what they can do. Pumas showing us one heck of a first half. A little worrying they dropped off, but as I said, I still think they're on the right path going forward. So, yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.